It was the big one of this Premier League weekend. Liverpool hosting Manchester United, number 2 versus number 1 in the table before things kicked off. Janusz Michallik here with me for this one. And Janusz should ended even Stevens 0-0, as sometimes these things do. Now, I know, let's look at it from the Manchester United perspective first. Coming away from the home of the champions with a point is always a big thing. But given the problems that Liverpool have had and the fact that United have been on a good run, do you feel like Ole might feel like there was a chance missed here?
Yes, there's going to be always pressure. I mean, let's not forget where Manchester United were just a few weeks ago or even months ago, right? Questioning not just Manchester United, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well. So, I mean, if you look at Manchester United in general, you look at this as a progression, don't you? I mean, let's not forget last season at Anfield, when Liverpool beat Manchester United, they were 30 points ahead of Manchester United. So that tells you everything about Manchester United, but also I'm sure you want to get there eventually about Liverpool and their regression, if you will. So I suppose both managers will take the point here, but disappointing game to say the least, because Liverpool didn't really take advantage early in the first half. And if you look at the chances, you'd have to say that, Alisson came up big on a couple occasions, didn't he, against I think it was Paul Pogba once and Bruno Fernandes as well. So I think United, it had that feeling that they could have made a bigger statement here, especially with what's coming, right? Liverpool, the defending champions, of course, and Manchester United possibly back and extending their lead rather than just settling for a point. But of course, they'll take that, Alexis.
And then let's look at Liverpool now, quickly, of course, because like we said, they are the champion, but there has been a bit of a regression. We understand, obviously, it has to do with a lot of some key injuries that Jurgen Klopp has had to deal with in this one. We saw, like a bit of a makeshift defense as well that he's kind of had to put there. But you know what? The front three, as we've been talking about, are still very much there. And again, at least 2 Premier League games now on the trot without a goal there. Is there some cause for concern?
Yeah, 3 out of 4. And that's why I think what would have, that's what worries me about Liverpool. I mean, you can split hair however you like. I mean, they're still there or thereabout. And of course, you're going to hear, well, wait till they kick on and well, how long are we going to wait? Let's look, first of all, I mean, that's 3 out of 4 games that they haven't scored. The front three has not looked anywhere near to what they once were. Granted, a high bar, right? Yeah. From what we see, but I think they have to do better. Look, they haven't played well or as good as we expect them to do for a year now, because look, after the restart, it hasn't been good, but you can make a case even before the restart last season. I remember losses to Watford, Chelsea, in the Champions League, 2 losses to Atleti, right? So, was that, mind frame where we've won it already. You could see that, of course, they were always going to win it. And then, well, if you're just going to put that down to Van Dijk, I mean, he's been out since October only. So if the front three play the way they're supposed to play, I think you can overcome that. And there have been parts of the season already early where you kind of almost forgot the fact that Van Dijk wasn't there. So I just think that instead of looking back at the Joe Gomez and Van Dijks and all of that, I mean, how many teams have front three like this to begin with? And they're healthy for the most part. I mean, bar game here and game there. This is just a difficult time because in the last 2 seasons, it was only Manchester City and Liverpool. That's all you had to worry about if you're Liverpool or Manchester City. Now it's a little bit different because you do have to worry about Spurs. Manchester City, if they win their game against Crystal Palace, that pushes Liverpool to 4th spot. So, you can slice it however you want, and I'm sure Liverpool supporters will try that. But I do hope that they're realistic and they understand that it's not very rosy. It's not terrible. It could be a lot worse, but let's call a spade here. It's been below par for a long, long time now.
I mean, with that said, that's my only natural question then is how does Jurgen Klopp sleep tonight? Then where does he go from here? Because, I mean, I suppose one positive is given the issues he has defensively, they kept a clean sheet in this one, especially knowing what Manchester United can do on the counter-attack as well. But still, where does Klopp go from here?
Well, look, I mean, it's reigniting their team, even though the goals have been set, but kind of sort of maybe saying now, look, there's 4 or 5 teams that are asking big questions right now. it doesn't really matter if you think that Spurs or Leicester City or who's there or thereabout, Everton, maybe even Chelsea will be there in the end. It doesn't matter if you think that they can win, but they can all hurt you. They're all asking questions, as I said, not just two teams. And I think he's got to challenge his front three and say you've got to combine better, because right now you look at it, three individual players. It was good, and I love Bobby Firmino. When you say, well, he doesn't score enough, but he does so much. Well, when Mane and Salah aren't scoring, then you got to look at Bobby Firmino and says, you've got to do better. He had two and a half chances today, right? He's got to do better. He's got to challenge his team to win games against anyone. I mean, the points that they've dropped, 3 out of 4 without a goal, right? Dropping points to Southampton, West Brom, and Newcastle. That's unacceptable, of course, because the top teams are getting better. And draws. I mean, these are 8 draws right now. In the season when they lost by a point to Manchester City, they had 7. The season before that, when they finished 4th, they had 12 draws. Draws are not good for top teams. For top teams, you're better off winning a couple and losing a couple, and the maths work your way. Trust me. And I think we're getting into that point that once again, Liverpool are playing well at Anfield. They're still undefeated for however long, but they're struggling away from home. They're struggling against smaller teams as well. And now the big teams that they have done well against, there's just many of them. So you're talking 4 or 5 teams, kind of looking at this and saying, well, we may have a chance here.
Well, that's it, because Liverpool might be taking this draw negatively, but Manchester United, how should they take this draw in terms of one step closer to potentially a Premier League title? Because as we say, sometimes it doesn't have to be big, beautiful, big scoreline wins. Sometimes it's a nitty-gritty draw here and there, and then, of course, take advantages from the other games. So how should Ole be feeling about this one in terms of the bigger picture?
Yeah, I think he's going to downplay everything, of course, because it makes sense. The progress is there. 12 unbeaten right now, I think, in the Premier League. They've been good away from home. They're starting to play better at home as well. So I think it's one of those that, of course, the main goal still is the Champions League. But as we get closer now, and by the way, we're in the part of the season where, if you Ole, I guess Liverpool to some degree, but we're in the part of the season where you stop looking how you win games as long as you win them, right? I think, early in the season, we have a tendency, especially in the media, to look at not just the wins from big clubs, but how they win. Because in a way, we start thinking, well, if they're playing well, they may have a chance later on in the season. Well, we're here. So right now, these results, this little silly draws or drop points are very, very massive. So I think for Ole, he's going to look at that as a big point, given the fact that they have Manchester United, they have Liverpool in the FA Cup as well. Confidence will grow because you gain that big points, and you're going to say, well, look at this. I promised progress. It's there, right? But I think that's not going to go far away, because now everybody is going to look at Manchester United and they're going to conveniently forget, oh, we would have been happy with the Champions League. Now everybody and the expectations are going to grow to say, we might quite possibly have that chance. Why not? I mean, it's not unrealistic to think that there is talent on this Manchester United team and they're deep in their squad.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.